bad news in the EV industry. This is coming from our local survey company, Gallup. Okay. So Gallup suggests fewer Americans aspire to EV ownership. American EV ownership is growing, but fewer car shoppers who don't already own an EV are considering one, according to a new Gallup poll. 7% reported owning an EV, okay, up from 4% a year ago. That's a big jump from 4% to 7%. Yeah, while 16% of Americans over the past few years indicated that they are EV consumers, which Gallup defines those who already own an EV or seriously considering buying one. Now, obviously, it depends on where this poll was conducted. If it was conducted in Los Angeles, you're going to have a lot more EV owners. If it's conducted here in Omaha, you're not going to have quite so many. 35% of those surveys said they might consider buying an EV in the future, which is down from 43% a year ago. It's a pretty big number, pretty big change. 44% of adults say they are now seriously considering or might consider an EV, which is down from 55% a year ago. So the numbers of people in this poll have definitely changed. Meanwhile, the proportion of respondents not intending to buy an EV at all increased from 41% to 48% since last year. Now, Bill, I've talked about this. I get news sources and I'm in some conversational threads where I just can't win. I mean, it's just everybody on the right just considers, I see all this EVs are junk. They do all this, I hear all of the stuff. It's like, man, I don't feel like arguing over here. I can just argue on my YouTube channel all I want. And but it's interesting to see how income and political leanings are tied to EV aspirations.
That's so frustrating.
Yeah, it is frustrating. Upper income buyers who identified as Democrats or liberals were likely to consider an EV than middle or lower income American or Republicans and conservatives. One of the things is people considering buying a car, especially a new car, and a car that's pretty expensive, probably aren't your lower income people. But as we were showing earlier on the thing, if somebody needs a car, that Nissan Leaf deal is pretty damn sweet. Okay. We talked about that Cadillac ELR. We talked about Chevy Volt. When we talked about a few of them out there, there are opportunities for people to get a decent EV in the market. Republicans exemplify a recent trend turning against EVs, which many adherents view as too closely tied to the rival Democrat Party. This hasn't always been the case. And I have pictures of like President Bush in 2007 out trying out electric vehicles. It didn't really become a political issue between the two parties until about 2019 or 2020. And well, I don't know if it's because of the Inflation Reduction Act, which, look, I like what I see the IRA doing for the electric vehicle industry, but that's the worst possible name. I've told you I have a background in economics, and when you have inflation, you don't increase government spending. So it certainly wasn't designed to control inflation. It goes back to my whole thing about when they named something a common sense law or, all this other, it's a tough one. They could have come up with a better name for that, the Green Jobs Act or something.
No, because they tried that. Remember the feedback, they get more than that. Taking AOC and the Green Revolution, all that, and painting that with a, broad brush to denigrate it. So, no, I think they were probably gave that a lot of thought, and they thought, well, we got to do something about inflation, and we got to do jobs, but we don't want it to sound, too Democratic or too Republican. So let's find something that pleases both.
Yeah, well, I agree with Paul, who's saying that EVs are too woke for the right. But it shouldn't be that way. And almost everybody I know, other than Bill, that drives, especially Teslas here, they're all right-leaning. None of them are liberal. And, it's really bizarre. Yeah, that's probably true. He did. I really don't know, how to phase that. My favorite was the one when the one actress said, I'm so mad because you're like a Nazi, so I'm going to get rid of my Tesla. And I went and I got a Volkswagen ID4. And then Elon tweeted, it's like, you do know who founded Volkswagen, right?
Yeah, this guy.
Yeah, the guy with the famous mustache, right? But it is disheartening to see some of this. So I happened to find this other article, and I don't get into political stuff on here much because I get into enough of it just in the comments on the videos.
And keep them coming, folks. Keep them coming.
No, I like the negative engagement. Okay, so it really isn't a big deal. And it's like, when did Republicans turn against EVs? EVs used to exist as a potential that stood for energy independence. And the Republican Party is all about energy independence. And somehow this got twisted. Surveys as recently as 2019 showed that EVs weren't really so polarizing, and several polls since then has found bipartisan support among Americans for policies supporting EV adoption. And however, the elected officials...
Roll that picture up some more. George Bush, Dick Cheney. Let's see, who else is in that? Yeah, scroll up a little more. Yeah, there you go.
I don't know who this guy is. He's probably...
I can't make him out either.
Yeah, I know who this guy is.
Probably. I don't know who it is, to be honest.
Yeah, there's Biden and a Hummer. And I don't know what vehicle it says. Oh, this is a hydrogen hybrid of some sort in this picture. But it's really changed. And I think the Inflation Reduction Act is a big part of it. But as I've talked before, Republican governors have really embraced getting battery plants and EV car manufacturing plants. And, it's been, a great thing. And I get a lot of flack. People really still misunderstand so much about EVs. They all think it's like, oh, they're going to catch on fire. They're going to do all these things. And it's like, man, people are getting fed a steady stream of crap.
Of misinformation, yes.
Yeah. And, is it the oil companies? Do they really have people out there pushing this? You got to wonder, I've talked about the fact that in the space, only 25% of oil usage worldwide is actually coming from cars. So personal transportation only accounts for 25% of the oil that comes out of the ground. The rest of it is all kinds of other sources. 40% of it isn't even burned for fuel. It's used for chemical uses.
Hi, I'm David with EV World News. If you like this video, then please press the like button. If you like the content and would like to see more videos on electric vehicles, then please hit the subscribe button. If you have some feedback for us, please let us know in the comments. Have a great day.